We are honored to have with us today Professor B.K. Yamini from IISc Bengaluru, who will share her reflections and experiences.
And I see a lot of people at the back. Can come forward? Yes, that'll be good. Please come forward. So, first of all, I thank Spire Lab. I thank Dr. Prashanta Kumar Ghosh. And then my topic today is We Continue. Um, now, I just want to know how many of you, before joining Spire Lab, were aware of the profession of speech language pathology and audiology? Can I have the hands up? Oh, how many? One, two, then only two? Yeah, I say two, one, two hands. Or you want to have both hands, maybe make it four. Okay, so only two. No more? Okay, madam knows. Yes, madam is raised. One more? Any more? No. Okay, can we go to the next slide? Yes, so just to give you a background, I come from a lesser known profession, speech pathology and audiology. So, as you can see, the ratio. So, if we have about 75 people, the answer is 2. So, 75 is to 2. So, 2 people know of the profession. So, I come from a relatively lesser known profession. Yes, so first of all, I need to establish that yes, speech is important and clinically speech is affected. And still, people think speech is a luxury. There are so many things. So, why speech is not given importance? But I see in your banner, oh, where's that banner? Okay, the banner is gone there, which says publication, and I see speech as the most important word. Yes, so communication is the most important aspect for a human being as well as for the machines. All right, so this profession was established in India way back in 1966. I would like to thank Dr. N. Ratna. I would like to remember our guru, Dr. N. Ratna, for this. And then it started in Mysore, and they were given a place, and then he was waiting for the students, and that's how the whole thing started. And at Nimhans, there was a speech pathologist in 1971, and we became a department from 1980 onwards. So that's roughly about 44, 45 years that we are there today. So next slide, please. So I joined NIMHANS and I did my PhD. I would like to thank Dr. Shiv Shankar, who was my guide. He was the ex dean there and associate dean as well as the head of the department. So he was my guide. And even before that, my interest in this area of speech sciences was because of Dr. S.R. Savitri. Madam was the director of All India Institute of Speech and Hearing in Mysore, and she was my dissertation guide. So, where I did some work in the area of acoustics, and then again in my PhD topic, I did more in the area of acoustics. So, my topic was speech characteristics in patients with amyotrophic lateral sclerosis. Well, this is a very rare disease. It's not like, in the neighborhood you find fever, so it's not going to be like that, but the severity, the disability that it causes is enormous. We may not be aware of the condition, but it causes enormous disability of speech. Okay. So my work had some, acoustics of speech, which included spectral analysis of, speech using spectrograms, as well as, I did some vowel speech area. So I used analysis both of consonants as well as the vowels. So, and if you see these pictures, you can see on the left and right, one is that of a control. I'm sure all of you read the spectrograms. So you can see all the, acoustic markers very definite in a control. Control here is a healthy control as against a patient with ALS, where, all the demarcations of lost and it is very plain. There is no, the consonant is not there. You don't have the formants really as required, very distinct. So a lot of these things. So, and what pictures you're seeing of the spectrograms is again from, Dr. T.V. Padmanabha. I'm sure some of you as seniors, you know him. He's the voice and speech systems. He's established the voice and speech systems lab in Bangalore. He's an IISc person. So that was my topic. So from there on, I had to move to next slide, please. So next slide. So I got this. So I got a project sanction, and there comes, you have seen this Yama, right? In Prashanta's talk, electromagnetic articulograph. So we have a electromagnetic articulograph. It came way back in 2012. Well, the project was looking at articulatory kinematics. So it was much more difficult than just looking at, a spectrographic analysis. So I needed, a lot of support. And so that is where, go on to the next please, press the next. Yes, so that is where, next. Yes, next. And that is where the collaboration started. Okay, so this was way back in 2012, even before the Spire Lab was established, we started collaborating. So just to tell you how it all started, I just have a next slide. Okay, can you go to the next slide? So, we know this Brigitta Carsten, so they are the ones who deal with this articulograph. So she sends me an email saying that they're going to have a talk about their equipment at this interspeech conference which was going to be held in August in 2013. So I said, fine, okay. But then I get another email from her immediately after the conference, or in fact during the conference, saying there's a person from Bangalore, a faculty, who's very keen and interested in looking at, electromagnetic articulograph data. So, well, everything went together. So that's when Prashanta called me. So you can see that he came back from the conference. He had met Brigitta in the conference. Brigitta, I talked to him, and it was, hold on, please hold on. Don't go to the next slide. When I say next slide, you can go on. So he gave me a call. Go to the next slide. Yeah. And then he said, okay, fine. I can come and meet you. All right. I don't think Prashanta is listening. Are you there listening? All right. Okay. So now is the next thing. Okay. Then he calls me and then he tells me, okay, I'll come to Nimhans. Isn't that a blessing in disguise? Should I come from Nimhans, which is 10 kilometers away, or IISc come to Nimhans? Well, for me, the other way around was fantastic because we had the equipment. So he said he would come. So I said, fine. So we had, I sent him an email. I lived in Malleshwaram area. All of you are familiar with it, right? Being from IISc, which is more closer to IISc, just the corner, Yeshwanthpur, Malleshwaram corner. And then, then I sent him a long email. I said, you come to the Malleshwaram circle, you take a ride, you go to Linking Road, and then you come. I give him a whole lot of directions. All right. And then and I tell him, you reach, Shantinagar Double Road, that's Lalbagh area, and then you go left, and then you reach Hosur Road, you will come into Nimhans, you come into this. So I give him a lengthy set of directions on email. WhatsApp was there. I believe it was discovered in 29 or 2010, but everything was on email for us. Okay, so we did, and he writes back saying, I am not driving. That was the best part. So do not assume things. That is the first thing that we need to know. So we have interactions with very many people, but let us take as it comes. That is very, very important. So now you know how we met, and then now you can see that the conference in Lyon was by the end of August, and then Prashanta had reached me within the first week. And there was an email from Prashanta to Karsten's Brigita saying that, yeah, I am in Yamini's lab and we're starting the work and it's going to be all, so that fast it was. And I thank him for this because we had to start the work and I needed help. When they came for installation and demonstration, it sounded very easy. But then I needed another person who knew it. From my department, we didn't have people who were, observing, the installation as well as the instructions and so forth. I was the only one because I was the PI of the project. All right, my JRF had not joined, so a lot of these things came in. So it was all set. So I had I had a person who had handled this equipment coming to us and working with us. So that was the beautiful thing. And so then how did we communicate? So again, you can see another email on the right side saying, Prashant, I have a subject there ready. When are you coming? Can you come at this time? So we would work out the timings through emails, not through WhatsApp. Okay, and then I would be busy in my clinics, and then he would have his own schedules. So, in Spire, working out all this, we managed to have recordings of many controls as well as persons with ALS. Okay, so I'm just going to show you some videos of our old videos of ours. Can you please play video 1? As I said, don't assume things. It may not play immediately. We got to wait. Not record any of these videos. They are patient videos, and we follow ethics. Request you to please do not record even on your mobiles. Thanks. I was wondering, how, a person from electrical engineering department was going to collaborate. That was another question. When Brigita sent me an email that we have, a person from Department of EE who is a faculty here, because I knew, I didn't realize that there were so many subheadings under electrical engineering. It was only after this that I got to know there are a lot of, the DSP, everything comes under the E or EC as in, other places. So you can see this is the placement. Did you see that? You played? Okay, I didn't see. All right, so you can see that the sensors are being placed, and can you play that? Yeah. So that is Prashanta. You can see his role there. So we were both involved in recording the patient data. So one interesting thing happened, right? That glue is a dental glue. And then, Prashanta's fingers got stuck. No way could it be released. We had to literally go to the nursing station to get it released. So that was another. So we had a lot of learning in the process, that we had to use gloves, we had to be careful, you had to use a stick. Now you can see another learning. So now why were we both doing is because this is another aspect. These persons have a lot of saliva drooling, unlike what you saw, your own, friends being controls, healthy controls, they drool a lot. So they don't give us time. So even before, as he opens his mouth, he's salivating. So what is the millisecond time that I have, before I can place the sensor, make it dry and place the sensor? So that is where we needed more hands. That is where we needed more aspects. So, and this is one of the, yes. So I was doing the, the mastoid cleaning was being done. So that is where, one of the couple of sensors would be placed. So you can see here Prashanta in full action. They were all our subjects were very cooperative. But when we look at a clinical population, you must always think of how long are you going to record, and do they fatigue? Now, these are subjects who will fatigue, depending upon their severity. Some would fatigue within, 15-20 minutes. Someone, would fatigue after 40 minutes. So it all depends. So your recording, clinical data recording, for clinical data recording, I think that is a very important aspect that one needs to look at. Yeah. Are you done with the videos? Okay, next slide. Right, so that was some of the initial. So this was way back in 2012. Okay, all right. Next slide. Oh, okay. All right. So one more thing that what Prashanta would do is that he would come and sit during the clinical evaluation, clinical examination of the patient when I was doing. So that is where there was a learning going on. He wanted to see how exactly the patient was, responding, in general. So we would do a lengthy, our clinical examination, which is different from the electromagnetic articulograph examination. So that he would come, sit, observe to get an idea how this whole thing, how this patient was, how the patient's speech in general was, and so forth. So not only that, I would also come to the department of EE to have discussions with Prashant. So, and there would be a lot of issues. So, and then that is how we kind of improvise the proforma for data entry. So you need a head correction, so you need a stable. He said, I cannot fix something which is all, you have moving, you have the jaw moving, you have the lips moving. So I need a constant. So where is the constant? So then that is when we realized in our discussions that yes, we could use the mastite process as a constant. So lot of these things come with discussion, with observation, with interaction only. So yeah, so we did that. It's not that we had discussions only, in our offices. We also went to the cafeteria and had the discussion. Okay, so we have gone to Niman's cafeteria. Prashanta has had lunch, and I have come here to Nimhan's, and we've gone to various canteens around. So that is everything has been there. So a lot of discussions went through. So we modified, and so our proforma is extremely lengthy with almost 30 tasks for the articulograph. So yeah, next slide. Yes. Oh, okay. Sorry. I missed that. Oh, okay. Yes. Yeah, so then the first conference publication came. So Meenakshi used to come. So with Prashanta, his team started coming. So we had Meenakshi coming. So you can see Nisha Meenakshi. And so 2013 was the first, meeting. And then by 2014, we were ready with a conference publication. So much of collaboration, so much of recordings, so much of analysis went in. And here what we looked at, there were a lot of things also we said, okay, you put sensors, and he showed, a guitar and what would happen to the fingers. So similarly, he placed all the sensors on a notebook, and he said, he moved it like this, and he said, I want to see the movement there. Because in a subject, what happens is you're going to have similarly. So subject is seated, and you're looking at what happens to the sensor movement. So sensor movement in all directions, the three, XYZ and azimuth and so forth. So a lot of these, and then we had the first conference publication. All right. So then we also looked at persons with essential tremor. So you see, we have a very rich clinical data which can be used for machine learning purposes, analysis, and so forth. So and so we had with the subjects with essential tremor, you can see Mekhala came in at that time, but that even Arvind came in at that time. Deep Patel was there. So all these people were there, and Mekhala specifically. So what we did was I had a lot of recordings on the computerized speech lab by K. Okay, I'm sure it's there in your lab too, where I did recordings for the persons with essential tremor. So that recordings were analyzed, and they came as both as a conference as well as a journal publication. So we collaborated on many projects, DST project, Spark, STARS project, and currently on the neuropalliative care. And then we wrote a lot of proposals also. We sat across the table. The internet was the big boon for us. So we would go to Google Drive, we just Google Meet or this, and we would sit and write the proposals, Prashanta on one side, myself on the other side. So lot of proposals also have been written, for this, and all that has happened. And yes, so we've currently looked at the neurodegenerative conditions, that is the ALS, as I said, and PD. That is one more group. That is a Parkinson's disease that we looked at. And the essential tremor, there was, as I said, one of the projects had even children with autism spectrum disorder. It was a small data, has been collected with a small sample size. So yes, we have used the real clinical population, unlike most of the West, which analyzes data, from some kind of a pre-recorded one. So this was the main, what you call as a positive, what you call as reinforcement for us, that we were presenting in the conferences with the real clinical data. So that, and then we have Jhansi. You can see Jhansi here. So we at this conference we had two presentations, and we did something very unique. So it is not just speech. Now when I move the jaw, I also chew. So we were looking at mastication in person these patients. So this, nobody has done this research with the articulograph in India for sure. Okay, because first of all, the articulograph is not available in many places, very few centers, and even if they've had, they've not done. So what we did was to take up 5 patients and 5 healthy controls. We give them Mari biscuits and say chew and swallow. So we were analyzing, the lip, jaw, the configuration, how it was, and a lot of parameters were analyzed. And in fact, this won an award at our conference there as a best poster. So you can see Jhansi there. So we had also Shankar Narayan, who was part of this. Yes, Suhas was also beginning to be part of this. That was he was part of the paper that you can see on the right side here. This had Suhas. So we had all of these people were part of conference publications. I mentioned these names. We had Tirumala Kumar also later. All of them. And the what happened is we had a room for recording, sound treatment. Yeah, sound treated. Yes, the recording was going on. Now suddenly, now our department at NIMHANS is located, way back in the OPD block near the vehicle park. So vehicle park, and then you have trees all around. So that what you get during rains will be, I'm sure IISc also experiences some snakes. So we had one visitor one day near the room. So we had to rip apart the sound treated room to see where it was. So we kind of, lost some days or months of recordings because of this. So all these can happen. So it's important to have a good, place for recording. So there can be hurdles, and these things happen. So we got to wait, and then we resume the recording later. But then by then COVID came, and then we had another sound treated room, and so the recordings to continue. Yeah. So right. So then we recently had the journal publication. This is the latest by Tanuka and all the team out here. So overall, I think we have 16 conference publications and 2 journal publications because of this collaboration. It has been almost from 2017 onwards, 2 or 3 conference publications have been accepted at interspeech and ICASP or ICASP. Okay, and these have been dream conferences for me, because we as a professional in our academic tenure, I read speech sciences, and we are asked to look at speech communication journals, definitely. And today it is a lot more expanded, and so interspeech and ICASP are dream conferences, and if we have presentations in that, I think it is fantastic. But of course, Next is going to be the journals. So we're looking forward for more journal presentations. So with this, yeah, lot of Google Meets, as I said, okay, that they are very important. WhatsApp and Google Meets are there, and Tanuka would come anytime. I would say, ma'am, I'm ready. Please let me know when you are, because she knows how our clinics are very busy. And we have Vaishnavi who is there on site with us, and then she who comes for the recordings. It's a pleasure to have Vaishnavi now. In fact, I have had it was wonderful to work with each of them, right from Nisha, Arvind, Deep Patel, Suhas, Jhansi, and Vaishnavi, Anjali, and Tanuka, of course. She has not come, but then she's then, and all the others, like Achyut, then Tirumala Kumar, then Nilesh. Yes, so we have had a great team from Spire, and I thank you, each of you, for your contributions towards this. Okay, so the question is, has the machine learned enough? I still pose that question again and again. Has your machine learned enough from our subjects? All right, so let us look at this. All right, we go back to roadmap. All right, so I take speech as a center, core, and then what happened? What did I do? I did some analysis. I told you we had conference publications, journals. We did sustained phonation, frication, diadochokinesis, picture description, monologues, articulation. We used voice. We used clinical, population. We used healthy controls. We used different types of clinical population. So everything to do with the, speech analysis. But the question is, has your machine learned enough? Have you used all the algorithms enough? Can it detect and say, okay, this is exactly ALS, this is not PD speech? Can it tell us? It has always given me, 90% to 95%. But I am there as a clinician and I want 100%. I am not satisfied with 95%. It has to be. So there was an app also developed. So a lot of things happened in the process, right? So the answer to that question is no. The machine has not yet learned enough. You've not applied all your algorithms. I made a table, huge table, and said, okay, which is the algorithm? Each time the algorithm is different. And you're trying to say, okay, this is better than that every time. Now, how can that happen? I am having a person whose tongue is totally affected, and I see and I confirm that, look, this is what it is. But the machine doesn't seem to be telling so. It gives me 95% of the time. Fantastic rating, doubtless. But I want to learn more. So that is why we continue to collaborate. All right? Thank you. Thank you all. Thank you, Prashanta. Thank you, entire team. I would just take 2 minutes. I collaborate with Department of Neurology, and I thank Dr. Nalini, Dr. Pramod Pal, Dr. Pramod, they're both senior professors, Dr. Ravi Yadav, Dr. Sina, they're all from the Department of Neurology with whom I collaborate, and Dr. Shiv Shankar, who was, as I said, my mentor. He was the ex-HOD of the department, and I would like to thank a lot of them from NIMHANS for providing me this opportunity to collaborate with, IISc. Thank you, one and all.
Thank you, ma'am. It was a pleasure to have you at our event today and sharing your valuable experiences. On this note, I would like to request Prashanta sir to give a token of appreciation.
Talk and summary. I'd like to bring 3 points. Number one is what was the root cause behind, we working together, from my side at least. I'll tell you one incident which Yamini did not tell, but still I tell. I hope that doesn't cross the ethical border. See, we are doing some longitudinal study recording. I'll not tell the patient name. So by longitudinal, it means we record every 2-3 weeks or 4 weeks in gap. And that patient passed away after 2 recordings, right? That was, I mean, to me, it was like, okay, that means we can't do anything for them. Can we, at least do some assistive thing for people at that age? And we discussed a lot. I mean, beyond all of these, how do we bring assistance to people with ALS, with some eye movement, tracking based things? We have discussed a lot. But at the core, it is like, can we do something for them? So I think that is the driving force for me, at least. Number 2 point, on the data. So after I graduated from PhD, many things I learned. One thing was that got into my heart was one statement by a very renowned faculty: data is God. Okay, I must tell, with all ups and downs we had, many times, in a sense, I'm hungry for data. I must tell always, and this collaboration has generated nearly 700 plus ALS patients data, which is, I think, unique in Indian context. I think it doesn't exist other than this, right? So this was and it took so much time. It takes so much patience. It takes so much hard work, and not one person. She mentioned so many people's name now, right? So it requires that core interest and continuum of people to work and contribute. Without this, we couldn't have achieved today. And I think this, I personally believe, this data is certainly valuable in one way or the other. But what is more important is we do work on the data, we find something useful, meaningful, and really give it back. And that's the idea we are always working in. So I'll not say, although these many years, but I think we have not been able to crack things. That the answer is no. Okay. So, and the third thing I wanted to bring is, and this now, was on the application part, right? I think I'm missing really, I had a message, but nonetheless, the application part, I wanted to mention that whatever we are doing today, making it useful for people, we do not, it doesn't happen only by the academic and the clinical partner. We need to involve people even outside this who will really take it to the market, make it happen, right? We are not good at that I realize, right? So, and bringing somebody interested, it may not be a great market today, but the way I see population increasing in these diseases, it will happen one day, but it is the right time to do. What often happens is, one of our senior faculty tells, we are always the follower in terms of doing research. He used to call, it's called, Indian research is, post-rain research. So Indian research is under the tree. If you have a tree, when it rains, when it's raining everywhere, but under the tree, we are very silent. We are not working on that problem. Everybody is working. Then the tree stops. Then the water starts trickling down through the leaf. Then you start realizing, now you have to work on this problem. So it's always you should not be like this, right? We have to, this problem in particular will come back as a very important one after a few days, but you should make stride and be the leader in the field, is what I want to say. Thanks.
I just would like to add one more thing. What Prashanta said at the first point, these persons with ALS, their lifespan is only 5 years from the onset of the disease. So what is it that we can help them? So are we moving from speech communication to non-speech modes? Yes, definitely. But can I have an app in which in the process, will help them, monitor their speech and give us a feedback that this is how it is progressing. So I get back, to tell them that, look, can you change your mode of communication? So there are lots of these things that we need to look at. Just 2 days ago, I read, or maybe even yesterday, so there's going to be, for an ALS patient, they've done a brain implant. That is the latest news. So it's there and it is going to speak. So it's changing so fast, the technology, the application of technology. I think we should really go 2 strides ahead and then look back and say, okay, am I ahead? I need to think ahead and then work on it. Thank you. Thanks, Manan.